Today on the show, Radical Ones, we conclude John Ritter Month with the 1992 comedy where everyone gets caught in the act. It's Noises Off.
It's gonna be a disaster. I can't just sit there and watch.
It's time to get radical.
Said he's having no trouble. It's simple.
Hello there. It's showtime.
What is this, trick or treat?
Did I do that?
Good morning, Charlie.
Champion of justice.
Deal with it. Daddy would have gotten us Uzis.
The power is yours.
Get down, honey, get down.
And look, I won't go far, okay? If the apocalypse comes,
Hold your fire. I'm a human.
Grace Jones.
Thunder, 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 thundercast.
Power of 3 will set us free. Power of 3 will set us free. Power of 3 will set us free.
But I ain't one to gossip, so if anyone asks you, you ain't heard it from me. No, you have.
No more room in hell. The dead walk here.
Dooby-doo! Welcome back, Radical Ones, to another episode of the Radical Retro Rewind podcast. As always, I am your host, Radical Ryan Hunter, here with Rob, the movie geek himself, for Rob, the continuation
Yeah, go ahead.
of the Robebration as part of John Ritter Month.
It's been fun. Hopefully we gave you some nice examples of John Ritter and his brilliance, but I had a lot of fun revisiting these movies today and seeing this current one for the first time.
Rob had seen the stage production recently.
It was... oh, goodness, was it the beginning of the year? I don't think it was before the holidays, but it was a minute ago. It's been a while. Yeah, UCLA has a theater within its campus, I think, or maybe neighboring. I know we were in sort of like the college area, but we went to the Geffen Theater and it was playing there. And I knew that we were going to review this and it happenstance. It just happened to be playing.
Love this.
And I do have some notes as the comparison for the comparison of the stage and movie. But the movie was my first time. So I did see the stage play first. I don't know if that skews my opinion today, but yeah, I recently did see the play it's based on.
I'm so excited for that because I did have questions in preparation if you did notice anything that might have changed. I did read, Rob, that the actual writer of this play seems to update it. They said he actually goes and updates anything that is not modern at the time, supposedly. Like, I've never heard a playwright do this, but supposedly now, if you go see Noises Off, there is more modern references. I don't know if you noticed that too. Or maybe the telephone isn't on a...
No, actually, the telephone was still landline. That's a really cool concept. You know, only seeing it once, I can't say. Also, because I wasn't really sure when the play takes place anyway. I don't think they really give a time frame. So I don't know if I was listening for that, but yeah, that's really cool.
By the way, Radical Ones, we had some issues last week with Problem Child. A lot of you said you didn't notice it. Having editing it, believe me, I'm glad that you didn't notice it because there was, more than we never have talking on top of each other. There was like a big delay with that. We are back hopefully with better sound this week. Again, this is the John Ritter Month wrap up. But can I tell you, Rob, again, I am so thankful that you thought of this number one and then did the movies that we did. Starting with Three's Company, I'm glad because that's what everyone thinks of probably. But then Problem Child, the two, and then this one, What a surprise.
Yeah.
What a surprise. Let's get into it.
Once upon a time, in a place of make-believe, there was a little theater company that couldn't.
Sorry, folks. Am I doing something wrong?
They couldn't get their cues right.
What is going on?
They couldn't get their lines straight.
We only just managed to fit it in. We'd only just do it.
They couldn't even stand on their own 2 feet.
Are you all right, Gary?
Don't panic, don't panic!
He's all right.
Oh, well done.
Until a director was hired
Hold it!
Stop.
Stop.
Hold it!
to take control.
God said, hold it!
He started with the basics.
We know you've worked over in London in some very classy places where they let you make the play up as you go along.
But we don't want that kind of thing here, love.
develop their talent,
Would it perhaps be better if I came on a little earlier?
Right, only a little sooner, a shade earlier, like yesterday.
nurtured their creativity,
Let me just say one thing. No.
Could I ask another dumb question?
No.
and guided their every move.
Don't fall down, Tim. We may not be insured.
Now, if he can only get them to Broadway in one piece,
I'm starting to know what God felt like.
And what did he feel like?
Very pleased he'd taken his Valium.
they just might have a happy ending.
It's like the band playing on as the Titanic sank.
Touchstone Pictures and Amblin Entertainment present a Peter Bogdanovich picture.
Is it a party?
Noises Off.
I've worked with a lot of directors, but I've never met one who is so totally and absolutely, I don't know.
Beautifully put, Gary.
It is described as hired to helm an Americanized take on a British play. Director Lloyd Fellows, Michael Caine, does his best to control an eccentric group of stage actors. During practice sessions, things run smoothly. Really? Did they really run smoothly? I don't know about that. However, when Lloyd and his actors begin a series of performances leading up to Broadway, chaos ensues. Star actress Dottie, Carol Burnett, is quickly passing her prime. Male lead Frederick, Christopher Reeve, has no confidence, and bit actor Selsden, is that what his name was? Selsden.
Yes, Selsden.
Helm Elliott is rarely sober.
Selsden!
Oh my God, he's been here all the time.
Standing there like Hamlet's father.
My God, Selsden, you really surprised us. We thought you were, not there.
Selsden, where have you been? Are you all right, Selsden?
Speak to us.
Is it a party?
The first 10 minutes, I thought we were going to have our first, am I going to hate this?
Okay.
And I was like, wow, Rob just said it. We always agree. Can you imagine we're going to disagree on the end of the Robebration? No. Oh my God. I was howling by midway through Rob. I cannot tell you, I have not laughed like that in, I want to say, years. I thought Problem Child made me laugh. Nowhere near when this movie gets going. Holy crap. Okay, so Rob, walk us through it. You saw this. From what I've seen, the stage almost looks dead on from what they perform with. What we see, like that setup of the houses with the door and the staircase, there is YouTube versions of this play, like people performing it, and it looks exactly like that movie stage. I don't know if it came from the stage or they're basing it on the movie version of the look, but
so the stage came first, and so the movie that we watched is based on the set from the stage. And when I went to my stage show, the exact same furniture, like object, even the TV was exactly the same. I don't know how they did it. I would not be surprised if they took the literal props and set from said play to movie and then using it for the set again, at least for this scene.
I would love
it.
That.
Looked exactly the same. I would, like, the minute the stage lit up, I was like, wow, it is exactly how I remember it. It was pretty spot on.
Man, why do I want to see this now live? Were the sardines there still? The plate of sardines?
Yes.
And noise is off. Stay!
This is actors playing characters that are playing characters.
Yes, that's correct.
You really get versatility with these actors. And like we said, there is, setting this up, Rob had said this is a who's who of actors. I mean, my God, Michael Caine, Carol Burnett, John Ritter, Christopher Reeve, Julie Haggerty.
Yes, Julie Haggerty. We love her.
Mark Linn-Baker from Perfect Strangers, looking really handsome in this movie.
Yeah.
And then we have Nicolette Sheridan. Did I not know that was her on the cover poster?
It really doesn't translate. And in fact, I didn't know it was her until I heard her say a couple more lines. And then I looked her up just to confirm. And I'm like, wow, she's a housewife. I had no idea that she was in this. And she did fantastic as well.
So funny.
Yeah.
So funny. And then, of course, the last really big name is Mary Lou Henna, who I finally realized that she was the gossip of the group. But after she said about darling 25 times to everybody, I'm like, first off, what is going on?
Sit down, darling.
Freddie, my darling dear. Selsden, darling, where have you been?
Are you all right?
And then I'm like, oh, you are the gossip.
Aren't they sweet?
What?
Gary and Dottie.
Gary and Dottie? You mean they're...
It's supposed to be a secret.
But she's old enough to be... Gary and Dottie, Trampoline and Mrs. Clackett?
Did you know?
I'm just God, Belinda, love. I'm just the one with the English degree. I don't know anything.
What's happening?
You tell me, Gary, honey.
I mean, what are we waiting for?
I don't know what you're waiting for. Her 18th birthday?
What?
Or maybe just EQ.
Let me just say that in the stage play, she was my favorite. Like, the woman who played her was very similar to this movie adaptation, but like just a little bit more over the top, more grand, more like presenting in a way. And she just could not help but be so excited to be at the table. Like, she just was so vibrant. But again, with the gossip, she just knew everything and was trying to be there for everyone, but yet starting all the drama. You know, she was a delight on stage. So I really looked forward to see if Belinda is going to act like who I saw on stage. And if not, and the minute she walks out, she has that like Scarlet walk. And I'm like, oh God, we're going to get it. We're going to get exactly what I remember. It was so funny. So funny. So yeah, she was great.
When she's trying to keep it together during that one performance, and it's that one time when she walks in the door and she's like, look at this, or whatever, I was hysterical.
Burglar! This is most exciting!
So go through the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
What was going on?
You know, and Rob is going to laugh because he's going to be like, this bastard's doing it again. I started this movie 5 times.
Okay.
And that might be the problem, Rob. That might be the problem. I rewound it each time, though.
Okay.
So I got 5 minutes in, something happened. Got another 5 minutes in. I was like, nope, rewind again. So I actually saw the beginning of this movie probably 5 times.
Okay.
At first, I was a little confused. I was like, yes, okay, I know they're doing a performance of a stage performance. And I'm like, wait, what are we going to get? The sardines threw me. Carol Burnett with the sardines at first. And I'm like, oh no, is this humor going to translate?
For doors and sardines. That's what it's all about. Doors and sardines. Getting on, getting off, getting the sardines on, getting the sardines off. That's farce. That's the theater. That's life.
It did.
Okay.
I don't know what happened. There was a switch that happened within like the 10 minutes. And I'm like, okay, I am all in. I am all in. I can't wait to see how this actually performance ends. It might have been around the time when they were all, oh, I love this. This is the best people. Everyone's so nice here. And just wait till we get to Cleveland. Or what about Broadway? And I was like, oh, this is foreshadowing, isn't it? We're going to have a nightmare. I just escaped into these characters and I had the best time, Rob.
No, that's awesome. I love that.
It's set in the movie, but basically it's a movie about doors, sardines, and I'm even going to add pants falling down.
Yeah, they call it, there's a name, sex farce is what kind of is going around, sort of how they're labeling it. And it's just this movie that has so many intertwined relationships that is sort of disrupting the peaceful setting of trying to put on a great play. All the intertwinings of relationships that they just can't seem to just stop. They just have to be dating one another. And it just kind of messes everything up.
Lloyd and Brooke?
Didn't you know? Brooke and Lloyd?
Where do you think they've been all weekend?
Oh my God, you mean that's why he didn't even realize they'd put the whole setup wrong on Sunday?
Here they come.
Okay, all forgotten. I was irresistible.
But I just think the humor part of it, of them being professional without being professional at all, is just magic, because they're trying to be silent. The show must go on. They're ad-libbing. They're trying to catch up with one another, but yet they're still self-sabotaging at the exact same time. And it's just wonderful. What do you think about this particular type of comedy where there's a lot of like physical comedy, there's a lot of body playing around, but like there's, I don't know, did you find yourself sort of getting more of a repetitive thing where you just saw the same trips and follies the whole time, or did it all seem new as you were going along?
There's something evil in this house!
What about the setting of it just being in the central location? You know, they don't go anywhere. What do you think about that? Do you think in a movie that translates for you? Is there enough for you?
No, that's a great question. I'm okay with this because the movie is about this stage production. And, you know, you did see enough of the outside world. But you're right. I think for someone else who might not have seen maybe stage productions or isn't a fan of Broadway, might have that exact same problem, Rob. What you're saying, like, is it too too stagnant? Are we too bored because we're only seeing this? But if you get lost in these actors trying to figure out this chaos, I think you completely forget about it.
Now, I had a little bit of a hint because I did see the stage play, so I knew what to expect as far as the personalities and the mingling of said couples. And, you know, I knew what to expect as far as their type of comedy. And so what I got out of this was, I was like, are these actors paired with the right characters? Are they playing the right people? Ooh. And I honestly do think that they were pretty spot on. I remember, like, Christopher Reeves, for one, I don't think he could play anybody else in the show, and that's not to say to his ability. I just think that he fits the role that was given to him so well, so well. And I really did enjoy seeing him. I think this is the only movie I've ever seen him in outside of Superman. I don't think I've ever seen him anything else, and so it was a delight to be able to see him do this and have fun and be a little,
and a delightful character in a way that he's so like, violence makes my nose bleed. Just seeing blood is just too much for me, and I need my motivate. All of that was so likable.
But just think about him doing Clark Kent. He was a bumbling, like, nervous wreck too. So I mean, like, it's in him. I just think that he just pulled this off really well.
Lloyd, I know it's rather late in the day to go into all this, but...
No, Freddie, we've got several more minutes left before we open.
Well, thank you, Lloyd. As long as we're not too rushed.
But I think that John Ritter's character, and yes, we're biased because this is the month, but I'm totally being serious. Comparison, non-comparison, he had an amazing character, like, and just again with the physical comedy, I don't think anybody could have done it besides him. So I was glad that he was paired up with the role that he got. Did you find it confusing to keep up with all that was going on? I mean, I didn't expect you to remember everyone's names and their characters' names, but did it make sense as they were telling the story?
Yes,
with dialogue. So you were able to, like, who was with who and all that.
I will say, I did have once I saw who the characters was, I did write the character list down because of that same issue. Because I'm like, they're talking about Dottie. They're talking about this one. I was like, who's locked herself in the dressing room? Dottie. And then I'm like, oh, yes. Okay. Like, I had to put them together. But again, if you get past that 10 minutes where you're supposed to almost know at the, you know, like they're in it.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, what the F? Like, that's the only part I was kind of lost.
Yeah, there is no beginning. You don't necessarily get an origin of them starting out. This is like at the brink of their first show. And so the stage play basically was in 3 acts. And you did notice that in the movie. So they do.
Yes, the movie's in 3 acts.
Yeah, they do one show, you know, with the rehearsal, and we kind of learn about who they are. And the second act is basically just a few times later, like there's some time has passed, and the relationships have either evolved or devolved or whatever the word is, but they've gotten all messed up that there's some people who are angry at one another. And so we get to see the same first act that we got, but behind the scenes. So when you're watching a play, you don't know what's going on in the back. You don't know how things
now
are
I'm
set
thinking
up.
that's all I can think of, Rob.
And people are running around and scrambling and doing whatever, but we don't know because we're watching them be as professional as possible on stage. But the second act, we get to see what is going on behind stage, and they are all trying to one up each other, trying to punch each other. They're just angry. They're doing all of these stupid things, but again, the show must go on. You would never know. And that's sort of like that professional thing that I was talking about.
I caught up with the show in Miami Beach after all. I was right in there with them when they did that famous matinee.
And then the third act is just another grand show. I think it might be their last showing where everyone hates each other and you get to see all of that shenanigans on stage. They just don't care anymore. They're done. They've had it. And it's you're seeing the same thing 3 times, but it's all done differently.
But at the same time, you're looking for those cues of this one's going to be locked in the closet. This one's doing this. I think it does help that you've already seen this show now, the test run of the first act. And, you know, you're seeing how it's supposed to go. But man, do I want to see actually what they did for the second and third act in the play altogether. Like,
exactly. Like,
how did they end up?
They show that image of them all like hugging one another and just being in these different, like, what happened? I know.
A police, right? With lights on or something. Like, what is happening?
Am I putting him on or is he putting me on?
This is crazy. So Michael Caine's character, he's the director. He has a thing with gummy bears. I don't know. That's his character thing.
I wanted to bring that up. This is our retro moment of Noises Off. Do you remember those specific packaging of gummy bears?
100%.
That is 7-Eleven, 50-cent realness for me.
I looked at them like, wait, are those the gummy? And then they said it later. I'm like, oh my God, he's eating gummy bears. Yeah, exactly. Love that moment. So he's currently having an affair with Nicolette Sheridan's character, Brooke, but not an affair, but he's sleeping with her because she's not with anyone. But also the woman who does everything, the
stage person. Yeah.
At the same time, Carol Burnett's character, Dottie, who's older, is with John Ritter's character, Gary.
Yes.
And at first, Rob, not knowing, I was like, oh, John Ritter's character's so sweet. You know, he's he's like that person, just darling, friends with everybody, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, oh.
Don't worry about it, hon. It's just the tech rehearsal.
It's the dress, Gary Hun. It's the dress rehearsal.
So when was the tech rehearsal?
So when's the dress? We open tomorrow.
Well, we're all thinking of it as the tech, aren't we, hon?
It's all those words, darling.
Don't worry
And
about the
that
words, Dottie,
accent,
sweetheart.
It's coming out like oranges and
Listen,
lemons.
Dottie, your words are fine. Your words are better than the, you know what I mean. Isn't that right?
Sorry?
And then, of course, we get the gossip queen, Belinda, telling, oh, those two? Oh, you know, like, love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Christopher Reeve's character, at one point, he ends up with Dottie.
So he's not dating anybody in the show. His wife had just left him that morning.
Thank you, that's right.
We don't see her on screen. And what happens is in between the first and second act, Dottie and what's his name? Frederick. Dottie and Frederick sort of like bond. They have like a friendship connection, and they were just spending a lot of time together. Did they mess around? I don't think so. But Gary assumes that those two did something very inappropriate because he was seeing her. So, but they just sort of, you know, created this friendship that they just look out for one another. And so that just made him really jealous. So yeah, that was sort of like the turmoil or the conflict that was going on. Aside from, who is Julie's character's name? Haggerty, our stage woman.
Poppy Taylor.
Poppy, yes. So she is definitely aware that our director is also, you know, talking with Nicolette's character. Brooke, yeah.
Can I tell you her contact scene when she found it in her eye?
And it was still in her eye.
With the don't move, pick up your foot.
We have a problem. Oh, too bad. Which one is it this time?
Left.
It's the left one, everybody.
Left one.
Left one. Could be anywhere. Could have gone over the thing and fallen down, you know, and then bounced somewhere else again.
Where'd you last see it?
She didn't see it, poor thing. It was in her
It
eye.
was probably on. Why did I lock the door? She opens her eyes very sort of, don't you, darling? I always feel I should rush forward.
Careful, dear, careful where you put your feet.
Yes, everyone look under their feet. No one move their feet.
Everyone put your feet back exactly where they were.
Pick up your feet one at a time.
I just like how every time somebody spoke to her, she was like, excuse me? You said what now? She was like, yeah? What are we talking about?
I don't understand why Fedrick's character is looking like the Sheik or whatever, like 5 minutes after he had that whole conversation.
Sorry.
You're lying. Come on, love, we're 2 lines away from the end of the act.
I don't understand.
Give her the line.
What's that, Dad? Yes, but I don't understand. It's what's that, Dad?
Yes, I say to you, but I tell you something, Vicky, and you say to me, but what's that, Dad?
I don't understand why the Sheik looks like Philip.
She is the one person who evidently stays on her lines most of the performances. She's the one who always goes with it. I don't know about just hysterical. Rob is a fan of Desperate Housewives as well. And lately there's been those things going around about the cast. Like I've always heard rumors.
Yeah.
I always loved Nicolette as Edie on that show. So
she is great.
Seeing her on here as an innocent character was like, okay, I'm glad I got to see this after all that, you know, the bad taste in the mouth.
Sardines!
Bag!
Sardines!
Bag!
Sardines!
Bag!
Bag? What bag?
Oh.
Okay, so here's a question for you. Do you think that the film version added anything like that the film couldn't in a way? Or did you see anything that maybe got lost in translation from filming it?
No, that's a really good question. I was looking for any possible difference. I think that the second act added just a little bit more context to everything that was kind of going on with our handyman going out to get the flowers hours, and there was a lot more close up on emotional damage that some of the cast members were going through. So other than that, what you see is what you get on stage. All of that physical comedy,
Did they turn the stage around, like the back during that part?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, they did. So yeah, they just did a little twirl. Then you got the second act, and then they went right back to the front of the stage. And what's so great about the second act, which I think is my favorite act,
Hands down.
I was going to ask
Hands
you
down.
like if there was a part, but so on the stage, when you see them, backstage doing all of the things, and oh my God, the bit with grabbing the bottle and making sure he doesn't get it. Masterful physical comedy, just having to be on time with all of those grabs,
everybody,
and pulling it from behind and over the shoulder, and just like the rehearse of it all. Like, I just don't know how they were able to keep all of that so tight. Everybody's on their mark. And that was the other thing too, is that when you've got a camera in front of them and it's not a pan shot, there was one, I think, in the first act when the Selznick character comes up to the stage, everybody else is on stage and they're looking for him, but everybody's on their mark, because when the camera is facing the cast, there's this little space in between where Selznick is just standing there, and you're like, oh, this is so I just appreciate that stuff. But in the second act, yeah, there were just a lot of everything, all the gags, all the anger, everybody swinging acts, like all of that happened on stage. So everything that you got in here, but again, you got a little bit of shots in New York and just a little bit of the back. I think our handyman kept checking out this girl. We didn't get that in the stage. I'm not exactly sure what that was for, except for the idea that it seemed that everybody ended up with someone, and I think that that's who he ended up with, so they just kind of hinted it.
Just to say, Siskel and Ebert gave this 2 thumbs down. And of course, it was a commercial failure, basically. Mm-hmm. Take that aside. I know this must not be for everybody. You might have to be a fan of the stage. You might have to be a farce fan. Mm-hmm. Just that scene alone, like you said, the coordination it took for all of these actors to coordinate at the same time, know what they're doing, going indoors, going outdoors, grabbing props.
And doing it silent. Like, none of them said a word. None of them said a word. But what's also great, too, is that when they do go on stage in the second act, because we're getting the behind the scenes, but when they do go on stage, you know what part of the play they're in, because they're saying the lines as if we heard it in the first act. So everything matches. And I think that's also just such an achievement. But yeah, I did read a review on Reddit on this movie. I mean, it's just one review, so I'm not saying that they're, the spokesperson of America, but like, he didn't really like it either. And I think it was a he, but they didn't really like it either. And one of his biggest points was the fact that this type of comedy and the way that it's structured is only fit for stage and not for a movie. I don't know. I mean, to me, I didn't feel that their camera angles or anything like that took me out of it or made it more difficult to follow. But apparently that type of humor just doesn't translate for somebody in a headspace of watching a movie versus a play. Like, if I wanted to go to a play, I'd go to a play. And this is not. So I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what the reception was on why this didn't work out.
It is very theatrical, right? It is, even down to the way they enter and exit in general. But the way, like you're saying, Rob, the way it was filmed is very movie. The zooms in on the door. Like, if we're sitting in a theater, we wouldn't get close pans. Matter of fact, there's that one shot when they are doing all that craziness backstage, and Carol Burnett's character's in the mirror, and you could see the reflection of things going on even in the back of all of this commotion. Like, I think you can appreciate that more on a film scale, seeing the angles, and this is happening here, but then look, there's a mirror here, and you could see things that are happening actually even further down. So I get it, and I do know, I will say, this is not for everybody. This won't be for everybody. But
I asked you this earlier regarding if you were able to sort of follow the story. It's good that you were able to see it, but here's what I'll say. There is a lot that goes on, right off the bat, dialogue after dialogue, and that is another thing that I was just impressed by, is just the amount of like dialogue that they had, and being able to like have to cut out of the character and deliver those lines and just giving notes and then going back into it. I mean, I don't know how many times it took to make those takes, but the amount of dialogue that they had to talk about. And so, and it just kind of keeps going. You don't necessarily get a break. You have to be, it's very laser eye focused. And it's not like you have to catch every single joke, every stumble or whatever. Some of the facial expressions are
your
great.
Head, I'm sure, but
I think John Ritter just getting freaked out over the fact that things were always where they weren't supposed to be, so he had to change his dialogue because they were right in front of him. And so all of that was great. And then you're like, well, when did they take the plate away? Like, were they supposed to? So, I mean, I think people who watch this and really want to catch everything might get a little overwhelmed on trying to keep up. I'm not saying you can't take your eyes off of it, but yes, there's a lot going on and you want to be able to take in everything that you're seeing. And that's another thing about watching stage plays, is that even though you're watching the person who is speaking, you have to pay attention to what's going on in the background. You have no idea what's going on. And I enjoy stuff like that, and it just may not be for everyone. You do your best to catch up, and I think that people who don't really put that much like pressure on themselves to like notice everything, I think we'll still have a good time.
It's almost like even a real life Scooby-Doo in a way with the door situation. Like, it is classic comedy genius. What a door could do, what tying someone's shoes together in a fall could do. Since this is John Ritter's month, he mentioned that this was his favorite fall he ever did on camera. Not Three's Company. It was the fall down the stairs in this movie. So I love that. John Ritter, he mispronounces Dottie's name.
Oh, yes. That was a bit on in the stage play, too, is that he just kept saying different names every single time. And
is that not me? That would be perfect for me.
But that's the other thing, is that even those mispronounced names were scripted. Like, he had to say the exact mispronounced word, which I think is also so genius that he was able to do that. My friend who went with me, we created an inside joke. Not an inside joke, but I guess that we just find this particular part of the play funnier than the rest. And so it just popped in our head when we were watching it together, the movie, because I had him over to watch the movie too. And
first time for him as well. Okay.
Yeah. And so I reminded him, I was like, oh my God, do you remember this? And then we just started busting out laughing because it was just so funny. And not only was it the mispronounced name, but it was also John Ritter just being like, Vicky. Vicky!
You're some kind of sex criminal. You've done something to Vicky. I'm going to come downstairs and sort you out.
Oh, I see you've got some sardines. Well, if there's nothing I can offer you...
Police!
I think I'll be running along.
Come back! Hello, police! Someone has broken into my house. Or rather, someone has broken into someone's house. Yes, a sex criminal.
Because he kept calling her, Vicky, where are you, Vicky?
I love that fake British accent he was doing.
We just could not stop laughing at that. It was just so funny. So funny.
I wrote down Mrs. Crockett, Mrs. Clockett, Mrs. Crackett.
Yes.
Mrs. Blackett.
Yeah, Blackett. I got Sprocket. I think Sprocket was in there too.
Sprocket, Mrs. Splotchet.
Yeah.
It might be because I'm one of those people that I feel like I could never memorize lines if I had to, Rob.
Sure.
This is a masterclass to me in comedy. I mean, these people Carol Burnett, John Ritter, like these people in their height of their career in a way.
Well, so Carol Burnett, like she was definitely someone that I was looking forward to the most watching this movie because I know of her presence in comedy. And so I'm like, she's really going to tear this up. And then I found out she was Mrs. Crackett. So I was like, oh yes, I definitely know what she's going to do. I can't wait to see it. She delivered. However, it wasn't until Act 3 and when we really got Carol Burnett, like
trying to kill me.
That is the Carol Burnett that I know is Act 3, where she was drunk, she didn't care, she broke character the whole time.
Am I in spine? No, I'm not in spine, dear. I'm in agony. That's where I am. We haven't been on the road for 3 months and already she's trying to kill me. I'm back there standing with a plate of sardines, and the next thing I know, she's kicking me in the... Oh, where the hell are they?
She reminded me of her character from Mama's Family because she was just so mean and like angry the whole time. I was like, this is the Carol that I know. Not to say that she was like held back, but there was a little bit of a reservation with her character where I'm like, where is Act 3 was Carol?
I'll fetch Mrs. Blodgett and she'll tell us what's happening.
You fetched her, I'm here.
I fetched Mrs. Blodgett and she'll tell us what's happening.
No, she won't. She doesn't know if it's Christmas or Cleveland.
Oh, dear.
So we mentioned the whole thing about the bottle earlier. This one English actor, it was his last performance, but I got to tell you, he stole the show in his little time that he came out. When they all start drinking by the end of that one performance, they're all just like, oh, might as well do it too. So they're drunk, they're fighting, they're trying to kill each other. The axe, I couldn't contain myself. This John Ritter trying to kill, like with this axe, Carol Burnett grabbing the axe, giving it to Nicolette Sheridan's, no one knows what.
I also love by the third act, they're still being like, where's Selsden? Where is he? Did he disappear? They're still trying. I'm like, you guys haven't learned or developed, but that's the other thing too, is like these actors were looking out for each other and doing their very best to like make sure everyone, you know, and they tried to be as supportive as possible. But by the third act, obviously everything goes to shambles, right? Like you get to see on stage what was happening backstage and they just mess up the entire play. Would you have sat through the entire production of that first act, or would you have left? Like seeing what you saw.
I was shocked that people were still there, but at the same time, it might be like a car crash. Would you want to miss that you were the one at this performance of of this performance where everyone was crazed and just went? But at the same time, they're thinking that this is the play. Oh my God, when the curtain doesn't fall down and they actually have to pull it too.
Curtain!
So this is what's really cool about your response to that. So this play is the sort of like ground zero, just sort of the inspiration of the franchise of The Play That Goes Wrong. Have you heard of this stage franchise before? So The Play That Goes Wrong is a on purpose choreographed play where you get to watch a play that's going on, but everything goes wrong on stage. That is the comedy. So all of the physical comedy, all the set mess ups, wardrobe malfunctions, all of that is on purpose. It is choreographed to do exactly what it is that's happening.
I love this.
You can also find clips of this on YouTube, but in particular, I got to watch Peter Pan Goes Wrong. So it was a production of Peter Pan, and everything goes wrong with the set and everything. There was a wardrobe thing that happened in there that was so hilarious, but they used a lot more not a lot more doors, but they used doors and, line messes up. The audience even gets into it too. And, they'll say something and then like somebody will get mad on stage and be like, who are you? Like everything goes wrong in this play. One particular moment that I will say just as an example. So Michael and John are sleeping in sort of like dresser drawers, I guess, for beds or something, or just a very flimsy bunk bed situation.
Okay.
And, John, I think, is over Michael and they're sleeping over each other and they're, chatting, they're getting ready for bed. All of a sudden, the bunk bed on top falls on top of John and he's trapped. And I honestly, when I first saw this clip, not knowing what the play was, I thought that it was a literal mess up. And I was like, how did they get through this? And then when I found out what the play was about, that was on purpose.
That is genius.
And to be able to choreograph that without nobody getting hurt, like there was just so much of that. That is because of Noises Off and the fact that you just want to watch the train wreck. You just want to keep going. And that type of like mess ups and things that go wrong, it can still be entertaining if done the right way, because you don't know how the play is supposed to go. So as long as you keep a straight face and you think nothing's going on, this is what you're supposed to see. And they're great. I'm sure you can probably order this online as well to watch the stage performance of these. But this movie developed this Play Goes Wrong franchise. It's pretty cool.
It's just so random, but I did want to bring it up. Some of our radical ones, you might have seen that there is this show going on called, what is it, Beverly Hills?
Yes. Yeah.
And Rob actually went to see it live recently. He's going to go back again, I believe.
Yeah, I did buy some tickets for August.
Michael, what is his name? Sorrow? I don't know. Michael something. He's this guy. He wrote his own soap operas as a kid. Like, I mean, it looks like really like wrote them.
13 years old, he was bullied at school. He didn't really have that many friends. And so he attached himself to soap operas as a kid and decided to write one of his own. And in a 13-year-old's mind, and obviously being inspired by the over-the-top antics and plots that he sees on TV, he wrote an entire, soap opera called Beverly Hills.
And these continue, Rob, into each other? Like, does the next one continue the next episode?
I believe they do. Yeah, so the show that I went to was an entire season. We got like maybe 15 to 20 episodes. Each episode was like 5 to 10 minutes long.
Okay, because I was like, wait, how is he writing these episodes?
They'll show a couple of clips, people will do their scenes, and then they'll be like, end of episode, and then they'll do an opener, like a soap opera opener, and the people on stage would just like act like they're being introduced, things like that. And then, so we got an entire season beginning to end. The one that I saw was based on the big wedding event of the year, and like something like happened. But in between wedding, there were these criminals that had these prisms, and the prisms they had to keep and make sure that it didn't fall in the wrong hands or something. And like when the bad guys got them, they were like, we have the prisms now, so now we have to it's wild. So the show that I'm going to next, we get an understanding, an origin of what the prisms are, because we don't know what the prisms are. We just know that the bad guys want them and they will kill anyone who stands in their way. But now we find out what the prisms are in the next show. So that's where but they went to Russia and they went to China. And you can watch all of this online under his website. So
it made me think of that because it's another way of doing like a genius, I think. That's so genius.
So the actors that are brought in are actual real actors. You see them on TV, some movies, and they are reading the script for the first time. So they have the notebook and all of their lines there, and they're, even if it's grammatically cited as a 13-year-old boy, they're reading it that way. And then they're acting out what they're reading, because they'll also have a narrator. They'll be like, the maid is taking in the luggage. So the maid will have to pretend to carry luggage and everything. And they're sitting there laughing on stage because they're reading the story for the first time. And they're like, this is what happens. It's so funny.
I love when actors break.
When they break character. Oh, God,
yeah.
It's so good.
So
and you've seen some of the clips. So, I mean, that's just kind of how it goes.
I just wanted to mention it for radical ones that don't, because it's so funny. Okay, so Audrey Hepburn was originally considered to play Carol Burnett's character, and Annie Potts was
Annie. She would have been so good.
She got into a car accident.
Oh.
So she was going to play Belinda's character, Annie Potts.
Okay.
Designing women, Annie Potts. I think she could do it.
I think she could do it.
Mary Lou Hannah, when I'm telling you, I would love to see the stage actors that did it. But when she was just keeping them all together, like, oh my God, that was some of the funniest parts.
Yeah.
So Reeve noted in interviews that the script resonated with his own stage experience because he was on the stage.
Yeah.
And the process as not so much a motion picture, but filmed as a play within a play. And I think that actually describes that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is fantastic, Rob, and I want to send this to you later. There's an impressive fan edit where this fan aligns all the uninterrupted Act 1 rehearsals, and then they put the backstage part in the bottom. They're showing you the first act part, but what's happening in the back in the second act. I mean, it doesn't line up as well because clearly they're not falling.
Sure. But you would think that the movie version would have done it this way too. So, but I get it. But the whole point is that you have to see them as their own specific parts. Mixing it up just takes the fun out of what was happening backstage, because there's a lot of more gossip, more like plot twists and things that we're learning as we're backstage. And again, the flower bit is so good. The fact that he had to keep buying flowers because he kept giving it to the wrong person by accident.
Smaller and smaller.
Well, because the amount of money that was given to him was smaller and smaller. And it's so good and it's so detailed. It's very British humor.
What did you think about the cactus bit? Even the whole like in the alley with his, again, everyone's character had their pants down.
Yeah.
Everyone had a false moment that they were, even in the back too. They thought Carol Burnett was getting Christopher Reeve and the director at the same time. Like,
John Ritter just kept noticing him in a compromising thing and just thinking like, oh, they're getting together again. I
didn't appreciate Michael Caine's character doing that with the whole Poppy thing and a nickel. I mean, I get it. This is Hollywood. I'm sure this happens. Everyone's sleeping with each other, God knows, in these productions. But were you okay with the way it ended?
Yeah, I think that if we're going to go through all of this turmoil over who likes who and everybody being mad, you want there to be some kind of end, right? Are you single? Are you staying with the person you were with originally? Did everybody have to end up with somebody? Probably not, but that's also sort of a Hollywood trope, is that we all find love at the end of the day. But I think we just needed a bookend. Like, how are you ending this? Are we still fighting with each other? Like, who's with who? Let's just nip it in the bud, is what I think happened. And it just made sense for him to be with the baby mama instead, you know?
Here's my question, Rob. Having seen the show and now the film, what do you think translates better? If you were an average Joe on the street,
sure,
would you have picked the stage for someone to introduce or the film?
It's really interesting. And I hate to be so like ambiguous with it, but I will say this.
No, I'm sure, yeah.
To me, it really depends on the person and their relationship with movies, even with stage, but mostly with movies. There are certain moviegoers or movie watchers who are expecting a certain level of production value and just a way of how a movie is filmed, and so they have expectations. There's a minimum, and I think that something like this probably will not entertain them as much as it would if they were to watch it on stage. Having said that, though, I think watching familiar faces is helpful in getting people into the story that they're watching. So I would say that, I'll put it this way: when you watch an animated film, do you need actors that you know and their voices, or are you okay with voice actors of people you don't know? The answer to that question will answer.
That is such a great way of putting it, Rob. Wow. Yes. Yes.
That is how I would interpret. But
that's
great. As a whole, as a general, like, what am I going to do? Stage is better. Stage is better. I think that when you go to a play, you have a clear mindset of how things go, and your work is to, I always forget that phrase, that dismiss the belief. I forget the disbelief. Suspend disbelief. You have to immerse yourself, or at least put in your head, like, this is what's happening. You can see the mics, you can see people backstage sometimes, you can see that there's a set and it's not real trees. You're going to a play with the idea that you're filling in the blanks, and you're making this as grounded and as real as possible. And I think when you see a story like Noises Off being played out, it's better on stage, because in the movie, you're like, you have all of this budget, you have these cameras, you can make anything look real. And then when it looks the way it does, it could take some people out. So I think that stage would probably be a better fit to see this for the first time.
I love that. Man, that was the great analogy. And I'm one of those people who don't need the recognizable voice actor. Give me a great voice actor and I will be with you 100%.
Exactly. And you would be a really good example of this, hopefully, if you ever run into a stage performance of this, because you saw the movie first. So you would be able to tell me which one is better, in a way of discovering this for the first time. But I was so happy that I saw the stage play first.
I was waiting for on camera to show Rob this. I want to buy this movie now, but guess what I just did? $7 on Amazon.
Oh, fun. You bought it. That is awesome.
Amazon has Problem Child 1 and 2. Not Blu-ray. $7. You get both movies.
I think that I want to buy that too. You saw that I bought Mannequin 1 and 2 for our review later.
Yes.
But I think I might end up doing that too, because surprisingly, I don't own these movies.
You have the VHS of the first one.
Yeah, I recorded it. So, but yeah, I don't own the DVDs. So I think I might just do the same. So I'm excited for that too.
But I want to buy Noises Off.
Yeah, and again, I think you might be able to even rent the stage play. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know the production value of the ones on YouTube. Do your best to try and search for one that has been on stage. Maybe it's possible for you to rent, but I would be very curious what you think of how the stage play works.
I had such a hoot with this one.
It's good you liked it.
I did want to ask this following up because Rob has more of an acting, I feel like, passion than me.
Sure.
So if Rob was going to do this...
yes, I asked this question to my actor friend as well.
Did you? What character are you playing, Rob? Any character.
So my actor friend said he would want to do John Ritter's character. I have two answers. I think that I would be really good at playing Christopher Reeve's character, but my goal would be the director.
Ooh.
I would want to play the director. I would want chances to express like anger and just like, oh, I'm so over it. You know, just that whole like cynical, like I'm so over this. Like I would love to play the director, but I think that I would be really good at playing Christopher Reeve's character.
That's the character I was saying. I thought you would be really good at Christopher Reeve's character,
but
also I could see you being a good Tim.
Oh, the handyman?
The handyman
Oh, I didn't even
character?
think about that. Is actually kind of true. I could probably do that too. Yeah.
I could totally
Just
see you
the
coming
nervous
out there
wreck
on the third act when you had to switch with Christopher Reeve and like...
That would be fun. That would be fun. John Ritter's character, it's too much. I can't. Like, I'm going to leave that to professionals. I think it would be fun to try, but that I could never. Like, that he's just too good. Those who have listened and got a little bit of a spoiler throughout this review, I'm telling you, visually seeing it really makes a difference. You can hear our thoughts about it all the time, but honestly, if this sounds okay, watch it. I will say this, if you watch the trailer, mute it. Don't listen to the narration.
Great
Don't
point.
listen to the
trailer.
narration. Just watch how the comedy is. And if it's something that gives you a chuckle, that should be enough because the trailer gets it all wrong. That is not what the movie's about. And I don't even know why
part of the problem too, actually.
It could be that it's not what the movie's about at all. So yeah, give it a shot. Unfortunately, you can't watch it free anywhere. I did pay the minimum on Prime or Amazon. So, you know, it does cost a little, but I think it's worth it.
This quote, speaking of Mr. Director, we've waited an hour. They've gone quiet. They think someone died. I don't know why. I laughed so hard because there was a bit where they called, you know, the play was starting.
Yeah, there were 2 people
times.
doing calls about, you know, the show will start in 2 minutes. And then once they heard somebody already said that, they go to 1 minute, then they go back to 2 and 3. It was so good. The timing of it all.
Now what? Ladies and gentlemen, will you please take your seats? The curtain will rise in 2 minutes.
Okay, Tim's already told him 2 minutes.
He's done 2 minutes? Ladies and gentlemen, will you please take your seats? The curtain will rise in 1 minute.
What the f*** going on?
Lloyd!
Holy cow.
I didn't know you were here.
I'm not. I'm in New York. But I can't sit out there and listen to 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 minute, 2 minutes.
Lloyd, we're having big dramas back here.
We're having big dramas out there. This is a matinee, love. There are senior citizens out there. The curtain will rise in 3 minutes. We all start for the gents. The curtain will rise in 1 minute. We all start running out again. We don't know which way we're going.
I totally do that when I see something. If I know I have time to use the bathroom one last time, and they show, that's how I got, right? Is that what was happening?
Yeah.
Because I saw the older men get up to pee.
Well, yeah, because they think they don't have time. They're like, I'll just wait it out. And they're like, oh, I do have some time. Okay, that's good.
Sex criminals everywhere, Rob? Is that what we're going to say? Sex criminals everywhere.
Oh, that was so funny. Such a funny line.
Just to wrap it up, did you have a favorite? Was it the sardines, the doors, the contact? You know, was there a favorite bit?
No, that's oh my goodness, to pick only one. The sardines was actually pretty funny. Just how many she had to get. I think for me, I mean, and this is kind of just spread out throughout the movie, is just the idea of having to keep the show going, making sure it goes along, them having to on the spot change their wording because things weren't where they were supposed to be. And I just think all of those discoveries, like with the door not opening, it's like, just give it a try, just push on through. Just like they just had
crawl through somewhere. Can't you crawl through this way?
Oh yeah, even though I was in the bathroom, I came around out from outside.
Climb round into the squeeze through the, shin down the... There must be some way.
The fact that they had to improv and improvise on everything that was going wrong and still trying to keep it going was just hilarious. So I really enjoyed that sort of bit there.
I'm going to watch this movie again, Radical Ones, very shortly, or at least just Act 2. Because...
Well, you still have it for, 2 more days, right?
I am going to. I'm going to watch Act 2. I mean, I can't tell you. So, Rob, I'm actually excited because you are always coming up with something.
Rob's recommendations.
Yeah,
dare I ask?
Yeah, I want to say that I may have repeated a little bit of this. This is the thing. This particular genre is something that I am not too familiar with, to be honest. There is a lot of titles that fit sort of this type of comedy that have come out over the earlier years that I just have not seen. And it's something that I would love to explore one day, or not one day, but just, often and just really get into these type of physical comedy movies. So sorry if you've heard it before. There's so many that could fit under this, but I want to say if you want to keep this momentum going and if you did enjoy Noises Off, I think that these 3 movies fit the bill. Death at a Funeral, which is also a British comedy.
Now there's 2, right?
There's 2 of them because there was a US remake with a black cast. I'd say pick either one, depending on who you resonate with as far as the actors, but both casts are stacked. Tons of people, heavy dialogue, lots and lots of physical comedy, a bunch of misunderstandings, and just things that need to happen. Because you're at a funeral, you don't want to mess up a funeral. So a lot of the things that are happening in the background having to be done without, messing up the main event. This is a complete not a copy, but it's the exact same type of movie that you're gonna get from Noises Off. Death at a Funeral.
See, that's perfect though. That is
so good. I want to say that I've given that recommendation before, but
if it was years.
But I'm serious. Either one will work. Watch either one. I think the comedy is similar and the acting but yeah, great film. And again, both movies have an amazing cast. The next one that I'm going to recommend is Murder by Death. Murder by Death is a sort of like a parody, also might be considered a farce, but it's a movie where all of these not illiterate, but literature detectives. So just think Columbo or, Sherlock Holmes, all of the fictional. It's just sort of like an Avengers like detective movie, like when they all
joining them all together. Wow.
So yeah, Mark Twain, I think, either wrote this or he's a character who writes something. Anyways, they all get invited to this house to solve the whodunit of whodunit, like the best murder mystery ever. And
beyond clue.
I know, right? And all of them are brought to this house to see if they can solve the best, challenging murder ever. The only thing I will say, it's didn't age very well because it's very racist. But again, the cast is stacked, including a young Maggie Smith and an Elaine Brennan, who is also known for her role in Clue as Miss Peacock. She is also in this movie as well.
Oh my God, she was setting herself up for the...
Yeah, right? Alec Guinness. There's some great actors in this movie, but it's all takes place at this mansion. They all split up and do their thing. It's very Agatha Christie, but it's done in a very comedic way. I think some of the camaraderie of just having these group of people all in one setting, just running around doing whatever, fits the bill. So this would be a great pair with Noises Off. I think you will get the same sort of feel from that.
There's a great poster too. Black and white.
Love the poster. Now, this is a movie that I need to revisit, but I remember it being really funny and definitely plot-wise fits the sort of Noises Off fanatics of it. This movie has John Candy along with a lot of great actors, and it's sort of like a murder mystery, but sort of done in a comedic sort of parody way, and a little bit of a soap opera too. They just sort of enhance a little bit of their characters, but they try to be as grounded as possible. Do you remember a movie called Once Upon a Crime?
I actually do remember the name.
Look up the poster. It'll just like bam. Again, I only saw this movie once and I was a kid, but I do remember clips of this in my head, and this reminds me of Noises Off so much. But yeah, it's also another comedy whodunit.
You are right. Yep. I've seen this poster. I
Yeah.
don't think I've ever seen it though.
That is a movie I'm definitely going to rewatch and just see if I remember anything, if anything clicks. But I just remember that all of the shenanigans that you would see in soap operas and murder mysteries are just enhanced in this comedic, like, whodunit. So
look at him. I don't know if I got recommendations that are good. This looks great.
So I think tone-wise, these three movies fit. So that is what I would watch if you like Noises Out. But if Noises Off. But if you didn't like this movie, I did give similar ones, but they're a little bit more realistic in a way. Of course, I'm going to recommend Clue. I mean, how can you not?
Of course. Okay.
And I just think that the dialogue is easier to follow along. People all get their moments to shine. It's written very well. The comedy is great. It's quotable. Clue is everything. I don't even have to go on. Next, between all of the relationships intertwining, the hatred for one another, just being like, how dare you? This movie, I think, takes that to a heavier level. It is also sort of a drama / dark comedy, so it gets dark. Directed by Danny DeVito. This is War of the Roses. If you look at his filmography, he usually only directs dark comedies. He is a twisted man.
I believe it.
Did you watch Duplex when Ben Stiller and Drew Barrymore tried to kill that old woman? Have you seen that? That movie is dark. That's Danny DeVito. But yeah, War of the Roses, I think, is great. It just starts off with this divorce lawyer talking to a potential new client, and he tells the story about a previous couple he worked with, where he played both. He was a divorce lawyer for both of them. And he just went on and talked about their story, about their fall from I want a divorce to how they ended, which was in death. And it just escalated every single time. They just kept going back and forth. There is a remake that is coming out called The Roses with Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman. That looks pretty funny. I don't know if they're going to go as dark, but War of the Roses, oh my God. If you want more of a grittier, realistic way of this, but there's tons of physical comedy in this, and I think they both did a fantastic job. So War of the Roses,
such a classic. Yes.
Now this movie, I'm sure I've said before, but I'm going to say it again because how can you not recommend this? This is a literal carbon copy of a show within a show and all the intertwining relationships messing up the actual soap dish.
Okay.
We gotta talk about Soap Dish. The entire cast behind the scenes is just as dramatic as what's being played on stage. You have to watch Soap Dish. I think the cast is great. It's written better. It's hilarious. It's rewatchable, and anybody who's ever watched a soap opera, even just one episode, will understand this is like, they did such a great job with this. So yeah, I'm recommending those three.
And again, the cast is
so good. What has inspired me to watch based on Noises Off? I have three titles. Apparently, Michael Caine and Christopher Reeves has starred in a movie together before. I don't know if it was before or after this, but they were in a movie called Death Trap, which I heard is another comedy murder mystery. I've seen the poster before, but never watched it. But those two are in it together. So,
also based on a play, it looks like.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Look at that. So I definitely want to check that out.
Yeah, it was adapted into a film with Michael Caine. Yeah.
The other one is called What's Up, Doc? I've heard this name, this title so many times.
I have heard this as well.
I think I just need to watch it because I just hear that it's such an amazing film. Barbara Streisand, Ryan O'Neal. The accidental mix-up of 4 identical plaid overnight bags leads to a series of increasingly wild and wacky situations. So I'm sure people grab the wrong bag and, they have to get the right one and yada yada. The last one that I'll mention that looks kind of cool. This is in the 60s, actually, 67. It's called The Honey Pot. In Venice, a millionaire hires an actor to help him prank 3 greedy ex-girlfriends into thinking he's dying and leaving his fortune to one of them and seeing how they react. It's giving Greedy. Do you remember Greedy?
And I do.
Yeah.
Wait, so who is in Honey Pot? Does it
So
say any like
Honeypot
known
is
actor?
Rex Harrison. I don't know. Susan Hayward. Oh, Cliff Robertson. And I think if you looked him up, you'll know who that is. Edie Adams looks very... Oh, Maggie Smith is in this.
Maggie Smith must be in everything.
I know, right?
I've never seen anything she's not in.
I was researching on, some other movies similar to this, and Honeypot came up, and I was like, this plot sounds so much fun. I can only imagine what these women are thinking once they are told that
funny plot.
I love it. So any one of these three will be great. Hopefully I'll watch one of them soon, but though I put them on my list, so...
Radical Ones, that is the conclusion of John Ritter Month. John, thank you so much for your comedic performances. Check out the John Ritter Foundation for Aortic Disease, and Rob for recommending this month. I mean, honestly, it was the greatest retrospect. I think we touched the 70s, we got the 90s, we got different parts of his career. Like Rob said, he has dramatic performances. We mentioned,
and comedians, when they're seen for their physical comedy, they make you laugh, they make you smile. You don't necessarily see them as raunchy or dirty or just like somebody outside of that type, right? And like John Ritter, like if you were to watch him in like Bride of Chucky or Bad Santa, like you get a different side of this man. He can be just as dirty. You don't know somebody until you've seen the scope. And when you're watching like Ted and just seeing him just like real crazy and Buffy, like so good. He's so good.
Poor Joyce. She thought she got a man for once. Sorry, Joyce Summers.
I know.
When you are not hanging out over here, where can the lovely people find you?
I'm on Instagram under Rob the Movie Geek. You'll see these recommendations posted on there. Check out the page. I also have some archive reviews of movies from my collection that I've rewatched to see if they still hold up.
And the Radical Retro Rewind podcast, one word on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and beyond. Guess what? We start our summer theme next. I can't believe it. I can't believe it's actually... Oh, actually, it is officially summer. We used to start really early in May and stuff. So actually, we're finally on time. Yesterday was the first official day of summer, I believe. So... Yay! We are going nightmarish after this. And for the rest of the summer Radical Ones, I hope you like horror.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. To watch these movies again, this series, because I just showed a friend of mine, so I here I go again. I'm just going to watch the whole thing again. But no, it'll be fun. It'll be great. I'm curious to what you're going to find out about this series, and we'll definitely have to do some Friday the 13th comparisons, see how they compare, how the trajectory of the series, and yeah, it'll be fun to rewatch Freddy again.
I gotta tell you, I'm gonna say, we started off, I already told you the first summer, I said, I hate Jason Goes to Hell. I hate Freddy Dies.
Freddy's dead?
Dead. Freddy's dead. I think those two are the equivalent of each other. So I wonder if now I will have a different opinion. But I remember going, this is the worst one ever. This is Jason Goes to Hell.
Sure.
To me. That is the equivalent for sure. So with that, Radical Ones, thank you again for being here this week. And we will see you again next week.
Yes. Thank you.
Goodbye and stay radical.